Okay, what we got here is an Alfa Romeo 147 air filter box. And what I'm going to do today, this is where the air goes in, comes down here, then this little contraction here, this little contraction here, and then this little contraption here, and this big box on the side here, and this pipe coming down here into the air intake tube there. All they do is stop induction raw. In an Alfa Romeo, that is crazy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to perform a little surgery here and cut all these off. And see what it sounds like. Now I'm going to cut these blobby things off, and I'm going to use a 1mm cutting wheel. You don't really need to hear the noise and carrying on, so what I'll do is I'll cut it off and then I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, this is what we've got so far. That one's cut off. That one's cut off. That's cut off. That's the little offcuts there. So there's one opening there. The other one there, and the other one there. Now I'm going to smooth them off. Make up some plugs out of that plastic there. And then hot melt glue them on. But before we do that, we'll take off that ugly looking thing off there with the cut-off wheel again. Okay, the side box is off now. That was a little bit more complicated. That went on there somewhere like that. So I've made some cuts there, and then this bit here had to come off from there. That's gone now. Now I'm going to trim this out so it doesn't even look like anything was taken off. And then the inside pipe there, if you turn it, that's gone. So once that's all trimmed, all I've got to do is make up a little bit of plastic from there, which I'll use offcuts off that, so it'll be the same material, and just hot melt glue that on. Now let's get on with cleaning it up. Okay, that's how it looks. Just got to tidy that up. Now if you have a look, just retains the original shape without that big boxy thing on the side of it. There's the pipe, and there's all the crusty bits we cut off. Now with the box section from here, I cut it off in about 4 or 5 different pieces and then trimmed it a little bit at a time, because you don't want to cut these off. You don't want to cut that air filter bracket off there, and you don't want to dig into this line here too much, because that is where the air filter sits. But now I'm going to clean up all these daggy bits, and then I'll make up the little things for there, ready to hot melt glue it on. Okay, there's all the bits surplus to what we need for the air filter. I'm just going to, just for a bit of fun, I'm going to put them in a bag and weigh them and see how much weight we've taken out of the air filter box. Okay, a slight change of plans in the plugging up of the air intake holes there. I'm going to do it away with that pipe altogether. And I've come up with an idea of making a cold air intake system from PVC pipe elbows, and that's going to be about the shape of it, but I'll trim it down so it fits in. And that pipe there is just to join them. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to get this elbow. Let's see if we can see it in there. Now there's the airbox inlet where that big snorkel pipe goes on. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put this, show it in there. I'm going to feed that in there like that, and then get those other 2 elbows and join them between there and there, and that will be pointing to that bit there right near the blinker. And I'll be making holes in this so the cold air can get in through. And I think they should work a lot better than the snorkel. Okay, now I've cut some bits off the end there to make it a bit shorter, so that when we join it together like that, it'll be a bit neater, instead of like that, which does look a bit of house plumbing. Now I'll cut a little bit of that tube to put it inside, so it sits on that little step there, and then glue that together and smooth that off. And then when it's finished, I'll paint it all satin black so it fits in. And just by sheer luck, these are 65mm pipes, and it fits on there really well, so I won't need to put that original rubber join there. So what'll happen is that'll come like that. Then that'll get glued into there. And then this one here, there'll be a pipe connecting that one and that one. I'll just straighten it up so it looks a bit more decent. Like that. And then there'll be a little bit of pipe here to get it right to the back of that. And because it's so small, it's not going to need any extra support clamps like that's on there, or they'll just get located on the original pins there. And before I put it all together, I will make sure that it all fits in. Then you can take this box off if you ever want to take it off. And the only hole that I'll be plugging is that one there where that elbow was screwed in there. Okay, I've cut a small section of that pipe there and pushed that in there, and that is a really tight fit. Now what I'm going to do before I glue it all together, focus, there you go, and push that in there so it's nice and close up to there like that. Then work out what angle it's at and put a mark on it. Then I'll put the other bit on there where it goes behind the front bumper. And like I said, before I glue anything together, I'm going to make sure I can take the airbox, which is sitting over there, in and out of the car without any dramas. And that'll do away the need for any clamps to clamp the little cold air intake snorkel onto the airbox. Okay, this is what we've got so far. These are the two shortened ends with a little bit of a spacer tube in between. Now I'll put a pipe on there, and then that bit there's going to get and point towards the front. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah. There's the airbox mounted on these two rubber washers with pins. And I'll show you how this is going in. It's going in like that. I'll swap hands and get my finger out of the camera. Okay, that's in all the way there. You can see that I'm going to have to trim this bit of pipe here to put the other elbow in to get it to go into there. There's a little tiny bit of clearance there. I want to try and get that a little bit more, but I can still play around with the angle and that. And then this bit here, we'll point it forward. I might put another little bit of pipe on there, but I'm going to try and see if I can take that air filter off with that, so then we can fix everything into place. Okay, here's the view from the top of the airbox. Put that pipe in there. Now you can see that's hitting the radiator outlet. That's going to get trimmed down. And I don't know if I can show you this. without getting my big hand in the way, but that elbow is going to go sort of there and point to the, see there's the back of the radiator screen, so I've got to trim that to fit into there and see how she goes. Okay, so that's the pipe off the car. Now I'll put my hand in there and I'll put the elbow roughly in there to get the size we need. So now I'm going to cut that with our friend there, the cut-off wheel, and put it in there. And every time you put it in, until you glue it, you can turn these any angle you want to get the clearance you want and the direction you want. And then I will be putting another bit of pipe, maybe even that pipe there, on this end here to bring it right behind that grill. And there's no trouble with getting any water in there if you're driving through heavy rain, because inside the bottom of the airbox there is a little water drain valve, so that'll be fine. Okay, there's the pipe with the elbow fitted. A bit hard to see, sorry. So there's enough clearance there, and I'll show you from underneath. She snakes around there. There's still that little gap there. And the elbow's there. Now I'm just going to see. I'll try and see if that comes off before I attach that pipe there, and then I'll mark everything out and glue it together. I may even just trim a little bit off there, just for a bit of clearance. Off that lip there, maybe give it a bit of a weld so it doesn't come apart, because it looks like it's a pretty strong piece here. Holds that bottom radiator support panel by the look of things. It's metal. Okay, let's see if she comes out. Oh, there's the if water gets in here, this is the bottom of the airbox. That just, the weight of the water opens that up and drains out of there, so there's no trouble with water. And even if water did get in there, if we have a look, now don't forget this is all from underneath. This is the air filter fits in between here. That's the thing, the top cover of the airbox. And before it goes into the motor, it's all the way up there, right on the top side. So this would have to get so full of water before it takes anything into the motor. It just won't happen because that little drain there. Okay, let's see if we can get it out. Oh, would you look at that? It fits in. The only problem is I couldn't really take the airbox out, if you ever need to take it out, with that pipe in there. So what I might do, I might just cut it. Focus, will you? I might cut it 2 inches longer so that it's sitting a bit closer to the back of that grill. And then what I might do, because it's pretty tight fitting, I'll glue everything except that pipe. So if you ever have to take it apart, for whatever reason, it's not just jammed in there. There's plenty of clearance everywhere. So now I'll just mark it so I can glue the elbows in place and just cut a longer piece in there, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, I've just started drilling holes in the bottom grill panel there. I want to leave the little mesh pattern there like it is there, how it's open. Now I want to do that over there. I've just started by drilling small holes. I'm going to make bigger holes and then file it out so it looks neat. And this is what it looks like from the inside. Let's have a look here. Let's get this down here. See how that lines up with the pipe. Now before you're drilling into anything in the car, just make sure on the other side it's clear of any wiring or radiator or anything. I did that before I did that, and it's a nice clear spot there. I'll show you what it looks like when I finish. Okay, I've opened up the holes with a bigger drill, and then to get it a bit closer I'm using this little router bit, and just push that there like that. just really trim them up, and I'll show you what it looks like from the inside. It's getting bigger and bigger. As you can see there, there's going to be plenty of air coming through there, and it'll look nice and neat. And you won't even tell that it's been done from the outside. We'll be back when it's all filed out. Okay, there's all the holes finished out. I'll just use these little files just to clean up the holes a little bit, just so it doesn't look noticeable. Now we'll have a look from the inside and see how we've opened it up. Where is it there? There it is there. Should get plenty of air through there. Now let's go on to gluing the pipes together. Okay, this is how it's going to sit. And see there, and you can just see it behind the holes there. Let's see how she looks over here. Goes through there. It's a little bit tight there. I'll just see what I'm going to do about that. And what I've decided to do is I'm going to attach that bit there just with a bit of hot melt glue gun, because I'll show you how you can take it off, but it's not very easy to take off with it glued onto the airbox. But if I've ever got to take that airbox off, I can just put a bit of heat there with I'm going to put a blob of hot melt glue and take that off. That's all glued together. You see I put marks on it there to get the right angle. The only thing that's not glued is this bit here, which I'll do that now. And you can see I've had to cut it away at a bit of an angle, just to match the angle of the grill there. But I'll smooth that all off. And before I attach it to the thing, I'm going to sand it a little bit and paint it black so it doesn't look like a house down pipe. I might even fill that with hot melt glue, just so she looks nice and neat. I might sand all these little things off here that says PVC pipe, and see how she looks painted. Okay, there it is. It's all smoothed off. I filled up that little gap there with a hot melt glue gun. Sanded it all. I'm going to paint the intake, just that little bit there, black, so you don't see any white through the mesh. And we'll see what she looks like when she's all painted. Okay, here's the finished cold air intake pipe, all painted up, smoothed off. Got a bit of an angle there. That is going to replace that rubbish. And now we're back onto the airbox here, and I'm going to cut out a bit of plastic out of some of the stuff that we've cut off, which is here. Just trim that down with the cut-off wheel, and then I'm going to stick that over there, and with the hot melt glue gun you won't even notice it. Then I'll fit the battery box back on. We'll see how she looks. Now, I did take the battery box and everything off just to give this a good clean and degrease, because I've only just bought the car. You know that it's all cleaned up, then I'll put the battery box back on, the airbox on, and I'll show you what it looks like with the cold air intake pipe. I've taken all the inside of the guards off and given it a clean. Just painted up the brake calipers to look neat. I'm going to replace the timing belt on it. Put new discs on the back. Painted up the caliper there too, just so she looks a bit neat. Okay, so here's the little piece that we've cut out from that piece there. I've just trimmed it up. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a bead of hot melt glue all around there, and I'm going to sit that in there, and then I'm just going to smooth it off around there so you won't know. And another thing I've noticed is on this airbox, on the bottom here, it's supposed to have two of these locators for the lid, This one's completely missing. So I'm going to get some plastic and shape like that and attach it onto there. So she's got 2 attachment points. Okay, there it is, all glued together. Like I said, I ran a bead around it, sat it on top, and then I just ran a little bit right around the edge there, so she's all sealed. And that's also from the inside, it's nice and neat. Now let's work on the other square bit there. Okay, here's my finished version on the right. It just had 2 bits of plastic, and I made them a bit bigger, and then I've moulded them around the side there, so it's got plenty of meat. And that's the shape of it there. And that's how it looks. So now we'll fit the air box lid on with the air filter and see how she looks. Here it is. Focus, your mother. There you go. Better than before. Okay, the little 147 cold air intake homemade job is finished. Let's fit it in there. Now I've attached that to the air box with a bit of a blob of hot melt glue, so if ever that's got to come off, just a bit of heat from the heat gun and it'll pull off, but I don't see any need for that to come off. You can see the holes as soon as the thing focuses that I drilled into the grill. Let's have a look from the front. And you can just see it there. They're these ones here. That's where the pipe comes in from, in the grill. You can hardly notice it. And let's have a look at it from the top. If you can see. It's about as good as you can see it. I'll put the airbox back on, the battery box is back on. If you wonder why I took all this off, is because I wanted to give it a good clean. There was sand and everything all over the gearbox. I just want it nice and neat. I'll put everything back on there. Now I'll be able to tell you, I'll make another video after. I've still got to replace the timing belt and the rocker cover gasket on this. And then I'll take it for a drive and see if there's any induction noise. Thanks for watching. Oh. There's a little, that's the next little toy. A little GTV to play with. I'll see you next time.